Hi everyone and welcome to my recent game collecting video of January releases from 2024. I am once again a little bit late with these videos because there's already been quite many and especially lengthy game releases this year. So especially one of these games I ended up spending quite a bit amount of time with, but I do want to talk about these January releases now instead of waiting and also talking about so many February releases on same video. So yeah, let's start with Touhou Luna Nights, which I got as limited box with quite cute artwork on it. So Touhou Luna Nights, it's already several years old game from PC, but now it finally got physical release on consoles, and it's one of these kind of like fan made Touhou games, and this one is like 2D action platformer, very much Metroidvania style 2D action platformer, and I remember enjoying it quite a lot. Maybe it's a little bit short and there's not huge amount of side content in the game, like optional quests or things like that. So it feels a little bit like simple and short game. But what there is, I did enjoy quite a lot seeing all the familiar Touhou games, Touhou characters from the official Touhou games, and especially the late game boss fights are quite cool because they definitely feel like Touhou boss fights because there's so much ammo from the bosses to dodge and so on. Thankfully you have the time manipulation skill of the main character to help you at least a little bit. So yeah, rather short and simple game, but it's quite fun, and especially because there's so many lengthy games. Also this year it was perfect to have one of those much shorter games as well. And next, Under Night in Perth 2 Sista Celes. So finally like a proper sequel to the first game in the series. There's been quite many entries in the series, but all of those have been like different iterations of the first game in the series, and this is finally new entry, having like few new extra characters compared to the previous game, and from what I understand it is pretty similar to the first game series, so it is easy to jump into this one if you have played the previous game. I have played very little of the previous game, but it has quite nice tutorials and so on, so it's nice to learn the little mechanics in the game. I feel like most unique mechanic might be the whole grid system, which is kind of like this passive buffing system going on during the matches. It's something that you definitely need to pay attention to, but at least first it was quite hard to remember keeping track of that all the time during the hectic matches. But yeah, I like it. There's quite a lot of characters and everyone having their very unique play styles, so it's nice to at least try all of the characters and finding your favorite one to main. One little problem might be that it was released same week as next game here, so I feel like it was released in completely wrong time window, because two fighting games coming out same week, I feel like that might have had a little reason for it, that I can't find any matches online for this game, which means I'm going to be just playing it offline mode, I suppose. And yeah, and that other fighting game that was released same week, Tekken 8. Unfortunately, I haven't even tried this yet, because yeah, I prefer 2D fighting games over 3D ones. But Tekken is one of those 3D fighting game series that I usually end up getting the new entries for, to try out the new characters and what has changed since the previous entry and all that. And I do usually enjoy Tekken games, so I definitely want to try this at some point when I am kind of like bored of the other fighting game here. I feel like I have to get into this one and hope this has much more active online scene for the game, so it's easier to find matches. But yeah, one of those very long running fighting game series, so I expect it to be fun once I finally have time for it. And next, Ryuga Gotoku 8 or Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And at first I was a little bit worried if I want to get into another Like a Dragon game so soon after the previous one, because there was this kind of like side story entry for the previous Like a Dragon game only like few months before this release, so I was a little bit worried if I wanted to get into this so soon after the previous game, but because the games have completely different fighting style, this has the same combat system as Ryuga Gotoku 7, the game that introduced the new main character for the story, Ichiban Kasuga. So yeah, because the completely different combat system, I got into the game again, and I believe I played this for like about 100 hours, and I feel like there are still some little things to do, but I think I'm done. I have done most of the like interesting content in the game. there's so many little mini games, and especially like the whole tropical island, the mini game that is a little bit similar to like Animal Crossing. I think like there's so much content in the game because of those little mini games and all that. And also the story is rather lengthy, but I feel like maybe the phasing of the story is a little bit unbalanced, because I feel like during like first half of the game there's so much of this side content and new mini games unlocking all the time and so on. But once you reach like halfway of the game, after that there's not huge amount of like this side content that unlocks, and it's heavily focuses on main story. I feel like maybe they should have like unlocked a little bit of those mini games and so on later on, so it would feel like more balanced facing for the story and side content and so on. But yeah, I really like it how the game has Ichiban being the new, like especially like after the halfway point, Ichiban focuses as main story of the game, and Kazuma gives you more or less steps back, and he has this really nice reminiscence points where he kind of like goes through his memories from previous games, and it's so lovely how you can go through those memories with the main character from previous games and all the things that happened in those games. It's so, I mean, there's so many games and so many important memories for the main character. It feels so nice to go through those memories. And it's also quite nice how the game for the first time includes like this Hawaiian island as like the main new area after having so many games only featuring Japan. So nice change of scenery. It was quite fun to see completely new environment. So yeah, I really liked the game, and I feel like even like they they improved the combat system quite a lot compared to the Ryuka Gotoku 7, because they introduced so many quality of life improvements to the combat system, how good combat system that you can't even believe how they didn't include those little details in the previous game. But I suppose it was their first turn-based combat system, so it was kind of understandable how they missed some so basic features like range of attacks and things like that. It was going back to it it feels so weird after getting used to the combat system in this game. But yeah, it is really nice game, and I feel like I don't want to spoil anything about the story, but I feel like the ending of the game is pretty much perfect. way to jump from previous main character to the new one. So yeah, I can't wait how they are going to continue with next game in the series and what's going to happen next. It's so lovely series. And yeah, that's already all January releases. Couple fighting games, one little shorter game and one rather lengthy game that took me quite a long time to complete. And yeah, I have already made unboxing videos of a bunch of February releases. I still need to buy the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at some point. I haven't been rushing to get that game because I know I'll be taking my time to play those as well before I start the new Final Fantasy entry. But yeah, once I get that game and also try all of the February releases, I'll talk about those games in the next video like this. But for now, oh, did I completely forgot to mention the limited box of under 19 bird 2? I think so. I suppose that doesn't matter. But yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching and bye.